Hey guys, it's Stein here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're doing our What Talk episode 8. We will have one more episode, which will be a series review, but I don't know when I'm going to do that. I don't know if I'm going to do that here soon or after Thanksgiving when I watch the series with my family and get a different perspective on it. I'm not really sure, but I did want to put down my first impression reviews or feelings about episode 8, the finale of the show. Even though I haven't even recorded episode 7 yet because I've had a busy week. So I don't know when this comes out, probably next week, maybe Saturday. I'm not really sure, but I just watched it. I've not interacted with the Wheel of Time community at all today. And I am rather conflicted. On one hand, cool things happened. We got to the point we needed to go to. And the other hand, I am very upset with the way that the episode felt sloppy and disorganized. I don't necessarily think the episode portions themselves were bad. Like if you look at each plot line and you talk about each plot line specifically and individually separated from everything else, each plot works to an extent. Mostly they work. Like I would say each plot by itself is like a 7 out of 10 at least. Most of them being in like the 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10 range. Individually on their own. However, in terms of how they correlate and how they're woven into the episode, there was a very sloppy lack of time control in this episode. Like for instance, when what's it called? When Moraine leaves or is left at the Wigan and Falm, really far away at the beach, when was that? Was that the day before everything happened? Was that the morning of that day that happened? And if it was the morning, then how did she manage to get there while there was still light before we got to the end of the episode, right? And then there's like a whole part of the story where Nynaeve is just kneeling next to Elaine, who has a fucking stake through her leg, and they just sit there for like 30 minutes in a war zone, in an area where there's people fighting all around them, and they just stand there looking at each other and not like even like doing anything for like what feels like 40 minutes, even though it was probably like 2 or 3 minutes, but the way it was woven feels really weird. And then there's the whole thing where Egwene's part takes basically all day, but it still manages to work there. And then Rand's whole point of going to Falm is to go to save Egwene, but then Egwene saves herself beforehand. And then Matt's part was really, really good. However, I'm not really sure how he's going to overcome the fact that he has to grab the dagger again. However, Min's prophecy was correct to an extent. And Perrin finally got his moment. However, his moment felt lame. Even though I was affected by Hopper's death, the way that it was handled felt kind of lame compared to everything else. The way that Rand basically doesn't actually do anything the whole time feels kind of lame. The fact that he took out Turok so quickly feels kind of lame. The way that he kind of just like calmly stepped towards Ishamael and killed him like nothing feels lame. The way that everything is centered around Egwene, and then she manages to save herself is cool in itself. Like the idea is great, but the fact that it basically negates the whole reason for everyone going there kind of sucks because I don't like it. It's subversive in a way that it doesn't feel appealing. The way Ingtar is just tossed aside feels lame. The way the horn was blown and the way that the people from the horn interact with Matt feels cool. There's a bit of a nebulousness to it, and some of the characters that I recognize don't feel exactly correct to the way that they're supposed to be. However, if they get recast later, that might work because this might be like the way that Matt thinks of the heroes of the Horn, not necessarily the way that they actually look, and that is a totally acceptable explanation. If that is the case, that works for me. What else? Valda not getting his comeuppance feels kind of lame. I don't know. Everything feels like yes, technically, you succeeded. But also, technically, I feel shitty about the way that you managed to go about it. And the way that he was marked by the heron mark blade was kind of lame because he had to change the way that he holds the sword in order to make it work. And I don't like that he never got to fight with the sword. That sucks. I really feel like Rand is pretty useless, even though he's supposed to be the savior or destroyer of the world. Nothing about the story feels like it's about him. And that is a very shitty way of treating the source material, in my opinion. Because, like, yes, technically Rand is not the main character because he's not the only person that has a point of view. But also, if he's the main character of the first book, he's the main character of the whole series. Like, it's pretty cut and dry. I don't see why people take so much umbrage with that idea, and people get so caught up on the fact that, oh, well, it's technically not his story, so it's fine that they focus on other things. And, you know, they take this idea that a new turning of the wheel is fine, and that the show is just that, because you guys are book fans if you say that, and if you are fans of the book, you know that that's not how the wheel works, because if it did, then Rand would be Luce, Theron, Thelamon in both versions. Also, talk about Luce, Theron, Thelamon. I didn't like the opening because I don't think that that's how that works. If I remember correctly, in The Eye of the World, the person that goes to talk to Luz about Ileana is Ishamael, right? If Ishamael goes to talk to him, how is that going to happen if he's trapped by, you know, the 100 followers or whatever, the people that help Luz do this? Also, is Ishamael really so weak that Egwene can do anything? Like, Egwene is not even the top, like, 4 people that can channel at this point, right? My understanding is it's Rand, then Nynaeve, then Moraine, and, you know, the Amyrlin seat, and then Egwene and Elaine up there, right? So, if all it took is someone of that power level, how could Moraine be so easily defeated? Because I'm pretty sure Moraine should have the same level of ability as Egwene, or if she's weaker than Egwene, she has more experience. So I don't know. Also, like, the speed of casting in this show is so weird. It's so inconsistent from person to person, and even within a person, from weave to weave. And I don't really understand why. Like, I understand, okay, I'm doing something bigger than usual, so it's going to take me a while. But it can't take you 30 minutes because otherwise it's useless. Like, your power doesn't matter if it takes you more than 10 minutes to do something with it. And Moraine spent like an hour firebending in order to get the really cool, very awesome looking water snake things that destroyed, or fire snake things that destroyed the thing and then turned into dragon. Like, in that sense, that was really cool. The fact that it took, you know, 20 minutes of Tai Chi to make it work is not that cool. It looks really lame. Even if she had some really cool, like, Dumbledorian kind of moves, like, you know, when Dumbledore fights Voldemort in in the 5th movie, and he's doing the thing with the wand, and he's turning the water into a circle. Like, that stuff is cool. And Moraine's thing looked like that, but it takes so long. Like, Rand is able to just, like, go and do things really quickly, and if he's able to do that, everyone else should be able to do that, because he has no training whatsoever, and we have not had a single bit of Luz being in his head yet. So he is still doing everything by himself, right? So if he can channel that fast, why can an Aes Sedai that has been trained forever not channel that fast? I understand, like, if Egwene can't channel fast, or if Nynaeve can't channel fast, but Moraine, especially now that she's been aged up, has like 50 years of experience. Why is she so damn slow? Like, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Like, a lot of it just feels very, like, dumb. Like it's like a fan fiction made by, like, a writer that isn't really sure how to write what he wants to write based on the story that's already written for him. Like, dude, just move things around in a way that makes it quicker, not, like, fucking stupid. Like, I don't know. I get so upset because, like, the series is already really good. All you had to do is condense, not fucking, you know, jumble it up. And I don't understand why they decided to do that. It's really, really upsetting. Especially because there's ways to fix the problems that they had in season 1, and there's ways to make things more important and meaningful and doable, even with the fact that the series has already been released, because it is a digital first platform, it is a digital first series. There is many ways where you can recut and re-edit and re-upload the thing, and you can just make a very clear sign somewhere on the website that is like, this is the original version of the series, here is the updated version, the one that we think is the correct version, please watch this one instead, or watch both and pick the one you want. But if you want to follow from season 1 into season 2, watch this version, and then you just sub in Donald Flynn or whatever his name is to play the Matt role in the things, and then change the retcon into a new scene. And like there's many ways they can fix it. Is it expensive? Is it going to be a little bit confusing initially? Yes, but it's not going to be the end of the world if they do that. And honestly, it will make it better, because on a rewatch, on a reason when people want to go back to the series, which honestly, I don't really see why anyone would want to. The only reason I watch the show more than once is because I want to watch it with my family. I want to get them interested in the series, and they're never going to read 14 books. My mom doesn't read, my sister doesn't like fantasy, and my dad prefers science fiction. He's never going to read The Wheel of Time. And I want him to get into the series, and so the show is the best thing I got. But like, I don't see why they would want to rewatch this after they watch it once. I don't see why I would want to rewatch it if I didn't want to show my family it. I don't know, man. This is a show that is supposed to be the greatest fantasy show out now, and it's shitty. Like, it's not good. I don't know. It's better now than it was in the first season. Like, don't get me wrong, it is significantly better. I feel much better. I'm more attached to the characters. I like them better. But at the same time, it's like, why? Like, why are you doing this bullshit, man? Like, I don't know. I don't get it, man. Ultimately, it is just a show, and it doesn't really matter. But the fact is that it is my hobby. I like these things, and I want them to be good. And none of this has been that great. It has been at best good, and it's just bad, and it sucks. So yeah, those are my first thoughts here. I will tack on a little bit more of a calm reaction, a little bit more of an explanation to other things that I didn't touch on here. So that will be like a pretty long video, but hopefully you guys enjoy. Let me know if you guys disagree or agree, or whatever your stance may be. Thank you guys very much for watching, and hopefully you guys enjoy the the second part of this, right? So I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so let's talk about some positive things about the last episode of the show, and then final thoughts. So I just spent like 12 minutes rambling about all the things I hated or that felt bad, but there were some good things. And the problem is that most of these things were good in isolation. They were not things that particularly felt great in terms of like, oh, this is a great way to finish this character arc for this part of the story, or if it was like, it didn't feel cathartic, or it didn't feel like like a proper resolution, because the setup to it didn't really feel earned, right? But there's some cool bits. So when Moraine and Lan finally make up, even though they really shouldn't have been fighting at all the whole time, and she does the weave where she like opens the bond back up, or slash rebonds him, is really beautiful looking, and the emotional aspect there is great. However, I feel like this scene is supposed to justify all of Moraine's shitty actions this whole season, plus all of the stupid time spent with Karina and Stepan, and it does not justify it at all, because you could have had this whole scene and still have it be really meaningful and impactful without any of the buildup that was given to it, because all of that buildup is ass. It sucks so much. But the scene itself, in isolation, as a moment of tenderness between two adult characters that we really care about, was good and really wonderful, and it's something that is really, really good and nice about this show. Like, this episode had this one moment that was really amazing. The situation between Mogadine and Lanfear at the end of the episode, amazing. Mogadine is really, really cute looking. I don't know, the actress that they got to play her is from Spain, which is cool. I really like that they're taking a lot of Spanish actors and bringing them to this. I would really like to see Ursula, what's her last name? The chick that plays Tokyo in Money Heist, and the chick that plays Nairobi in Money Heist. I would love to see them in the Wheel of Time. I'm not really sure as what characters, but I would love to see them in like as a character in the Wheel of Time. But yeah, I really like that they're bringing in Spanish actors for some of these really important, cool roles. And I really like the one that they picked for Mogadine, because Mogadine, it is basically a lesser version of Lanfear throughout the books. That's basically her character, who she is as an individual. She is the shadow of Lanfear, at least in what she's supposed to be doing in his life, right? But she doesn't like this. And I think they managed to pick an actress that is able to compare herself to the way that Natasha O'Keeffe is acting for Lanfear, and also visually someone that is very pretty and very like striking visually, but not in the same way that Natasha O'Keeffe is. So in terms of like physicality, I think they picked someone that's good. I know that this is a good actress. I've never seen any of her work, but most actresses like this from Spain are usually quite great, and she wouldn't have gotten this part if she wasn't at least good, right? So, yeah, but her character as she interacts with Lanfear here was awesome and really, really good. It managed to convey a lot of creepiness from her title as the Spider. It also managed to convey this great sense of like jealousy and also anger towards Lanfear without it being directly visible, and I liked it a lot. I think they did a great job with that. She was great in terms of casting, and she was great in terms of acting. I really like that. I can't wait to see Moghedien act with Nynaeve and Elaine, because that will be really, really good. Assuming that we actually get that plot line, hopefully. I'm sure they'll change it, but I really wish that we see it, because I really like that part of the story. What else? There was something else I liked. In Isolation, I like Matt's stuff with the staff and his stuff with the Heroes of the Horn, but him using a quarterstaff and just being good at it with no previous, development of that sucks. I didn't like that aspect, and it could have been easily done if they just showed Galad and Gawain and him fighting in the stupid place with all the other warders. Like, now if we ever get that scene, it's not going to be as good, because it won't be the first time that Matt shows off his abilities. It'll be like, oh, well, yeah, he's part of the Heroes of the Horn. He's going to be good. Like, it diminishes a key moment of character for Matt if we ever get it. And that makes me sad. However, it was cool. Like, I really enjoyed him showing off and using his skills as a bow staff man, or whatever the right name for this sort of martial artist is called, right? But so that is a problem with most of the things I like here. It's like they're good in isolation, but if you think about what that means for the rest of the story and the characters, it sucks. Because it means that they got things removed from them. It means that stuff was added to the show for no reason to make it happen. Or it means that we're never going to get the right version of that event anymore, because they already did it. So it is what it is. I like having Matt be a Hero of the Horn, but I'm not really sure how you qualify to be one, and what happens there. And if there is such a thing as a Hero of the Horn, and all you have to do is be good, shouldn't previous versions of the dragon have been part of the Horn? I think this is an issue with Robert Jordan's writing, not necessarily with the writing of the show, but it is highlighted by the show. Because how is Matt a hero, but Perrin and Rand are not, right? So, I don't know. Perrin, I like the scene with Hopper, and I like that Perrin finally wolfed out, but it's a little too late. And I think that is ultimately the problem with the show. Like, is it good? sort of. Like, it's much better than the previous season. It ends much better than the previous season. But the feeling I get at the end of each season is still the same. It's like, this could have been way better. And that is not a good feeling to have for an adaptation. Because adaptations, by definition, should be the easiest type of IP management and development that you have. Because all you have to do is truncate and adapt. You don't have to write your own thing from the get-go. You don't have to do anything special. You already have the key elements of a story for you. All you have to do is transfer them over to a new medium, which I understand is difficult, but it is not like as hard as making something completely from scratch. Like, I don't know, like as an engineer or like as a student, it's much easier for me to plug and chug than it is to come up with a whole algorithm to solve a question, right? It is the same kind of idea here. It should be much easier to adapt, and it should be much easier to do that well than it should be to completely create something new. And the fact that they're failing so much is bad. I don't like it. And there's 1,000 editorializing things that we can say to make us feel better about it, but it doesn't change the fact that they're failing. Like, they're doing badly. However, there is one kind of shining ray of hope here, which is they're finally back on track. All of their characters are together in Falm. Technically, this is the moment where we can start the story and adapting things properly from the books. There was a lot of snafus to get here, but we're finally in the right place at the right time. Now we can move on to create a proper adaptation of the show. The problem is, I don't trust anyone on this fucking team to do that. They managed to get characters that embody they managed to get actors that embody the characters, and then they're squandering every single bit of that by making shitty storylines that have nothing to do with the books, by messing up the world building so much, by ruining and not explaining the power system correctly. There's just so many problems, and I do not trust or believe that they might be able to do something right here. And I don't hate the show so much that I'm gonna stop watching it. And if another season comes, which I'm pretty sure there will be, I will watch it. But even though my feelings towards the show are better now than they were before, they're still not great. Like, I still don't love this show. I only love elements of it as much as I can. And that is not great. So it is what it is, I guess, but it sucks because that means that I'm not going to be able to see a new version of this be adapted ever, maybe. Like, I'm only 24, right? I am not a super fan of the show or of the series. I have only recently started liking the series within the last couple of years, right? I'm not like Matt Hatch or Daniel Green or anyone else that has lived with the series for 30 years. But even I feel this sadness that this is the best adaptation we're going to get, and that because of when it happened, it's pretty possible that we might not get another adaptation of this ever. Either because the books fall out of popularity, which they already weren't that popular in the modern day as they should be, or because they maintain a certain level of popularity and love from fan bases, but they it just doesn't like turn into something profitable, and the next time they adapt it is 100 years from now or 60 years from now. I'll be dead by then, right? I'm 24. 60 years from now is when I'm 80. I don't think I'll live to 80. I think most people probably don't. So I'm not gonna get to watch the new version of this. This is the best thing I'm gonna get for this show, or for the series, and I'm pretty disappointed by that, right? So it is what it is, but it sucks. So there you go. Those are my thoughts. I'll do a review for the series probably at sometime in November. I will see if my parents want to watch the show because they like the first season. And if they do, I will review it after I watch it with them and give you the perspective of someone that doesn't really know the books, right? So we'll see. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys later.